Hi guys, I'm back again with yet another video with yet another market breakdown. So we'll be looking at the instruments on my right as usual in NAS100, EURUSD, EURUSD, USDCHF, AUDUSD, EURAUD, and GBP CAD. So before we begin, if you haven't subscribed, please just do me a favor, hit like that button and also subscribe. Right. So hopefully you watched up until the end. Right. So let's do this, guys. So we're gonna start on the daily time frame, right? On NAS100. Yeah. So just gonna quickly start on the daily. So there's not much that I'm gonna do here. I'm not gonna draw a lot of stuff because as you can see, we currently have that previous high. And then we currently have that low over there. And then I also noticed that we have a mid-trend level over here that we need to take into consideration, right? So in a sense, in some kind of a consolidation. And then we also have not yet came here because the market has been moving in higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So at the higher high, so probably going down to give us another higher low over there, right? So if we look left just to see if our levels are drawn correctly or what, right? So I'm happy with that, right? So as you can see, the market has been moving in higher highs and higher lows, right? That is quite clear to see, at least I believe so, right? So where are we now, or and in what phase are we currently in? Right? So we can draw a trend line over here to connect the points at the bottom. But as you can see, there's no touch at the top of this supporting trend line, right? So we then need to go deeper so that we can understand what is it that is going on there. Also looking at the daily candle, what is happening in there? And then as you can see, we don't have a level that's nearby for us to say that maybe that could be acting as a support level, right? So nothing is clear at the moment. So let's just go back to the 4 hours. So on the 4 hours, we have this fixed price that we see over here. To me, this looks like some kind of a correction. We can have this level like that, and then we can also have that at the moment. We can also have this, right? So it's playing between the support and that horizontal level over there. So if we drop to the 1 hour time frame, this is where now everything becomes clear. So as you can see now, there's no clear price movement from the way I see it. It's just a consolidation. Either way, though, we do know that after every impulse move, we get a correction, then we get the impulse. However, this does not necessarily mean that the market has to sell, because sometimes it does happen that the market corrects, impulses up, and then corrects, and then go back to the upside. That can happen too. But for now, as you can see, if you connect these touches at the top, the market, if it's gonna sell, it might just be building up a correction, which is maybe a last touch over there before it can actually give us the sell off to the downside. So this is how I would treat it, treat NAS100 at the current moment. Maybe a touch there and a rejection, then that's what's gonna tell us that the market will sell or actually go to the downside, right? So drop those comments down. What do you think is gonna happen on NAS100? But for me, I'm looking more at the probability that the market could sell, could be a sell-off, but a short-term buy, long-term sell, right? So let's move forward. So moving forward now to EURCHF, right? So we're just gonna quickly go to EURCHF. Also, guys, I'm not gonna draw a lot of stuff. It's just a simple way of understanding the market and just making it all simple so that we can all be clear as to what's going on. So as you can see at the top, we just have those two touches, right? So 1, 2, and then at the bottom, we also have these two touches, right? So we just need to be careful there so that if that's a fake out, we don't get easily trapped out of the market, okay? But if it becomes a sell, then we are in it for a nice sell off, okay? So let's go to the 4 hours, right? So you would now see why I highlighted that level over there, because only two things I think can happen over here if you look at it carefully. So we have that minor level of some sort over there, right? Then the market somehow has broken out of this ascending channel, right? Which is also acting as an uptrend, is a bullish trend, right? So if EURCHF is to go to the upside, then maybe this is how we're supposed to cater for it, right? As a result, it is in this regard as to why it would correct to the upside in this type of manner before actually giving us the sells, right? So that's what I see. And then if we are to suppose to draw this trend line like this, we would just more or less expect maybe a retest at that trend line, a retest of that trend line, which is something like this. So since now that we've broken out, then maybe a retest here at this trend line or even at that resisting trend line, and then we get the sells. So it's just a matter of what you see, guys, right? And also because sometimes it does, you just have to adjust and also go with the price, right? So that you don't miss out. But also it could just maybe be a buy to the upside once more to give us that third touch that you see over there. So it's just a matter of seeing and waiting as to what is it that is going to happen, but we need to just put an eye in here, because if the market moves correctively to that side, it will most probably be repeating its pattern or the way it's been moving. So maybe that correction will be a result why the market could sell. However, if it does not do that, then maybe seeing that it's an impulse move, so it might just be building up enough correction before it can actually go to the upside, right? Because that also the market does do, right? So I hope that was clear and it makes sense. So let's move on now, guys. So moving on now to Euro USD. So on Euro USD, right? I'm not sure what is it that's going to happen, because from the weekly time frame, you can see that we had that nice rejection candle, which is a pin ball, right? Sorry about that. All right. So that's what we have. And then we previously had this correction, right, which we broke out of. Okay, but we're not gonna dwell too much on that, because I can see that we are in an ascending channel, and then when you find something like that, the market usually reverses. Okay, so we're just gonna treat it from this perspective now, and then let me see quickly something. All right, we can keep that for now. But this is the point of focus. This is where we need to put an eye in. So as you can see, this is the ascending channel that I was talking about, okay? Meaning that the market has been moving in correctively towards that level. Hence, it rejected. And since last week, the market, Euro USD really gave us a nice sell, even in this manner, which is head and shoulder. Hence, it was a sell at the top. So let's go to the H4 now. So let's quickly go to the 4-hour time frame, right? So now that we're on the 4-hour time frame, guys, listen to me carefully now, right? In as much as this is a correction, right, and the market usually sells when you find something like this, we need to understand that we are in a mini uptrend, meaning that the market, even though it's in this corrective type of nature structure that usually represents sells, it could still go back to the upside, right? Regardless of the fact that we have this kind of pattern that usually represents sellers in the market. But we need to respect this supporting trend line for as long as it is not yet broken out of by the market, because we are still playing inside it, right? So what I'm talking about here is that we could still see Euro USD going back to the upside, right, as a result of the supporting trend line. But of course, we're just not going to consciously decide on that. We need confluence, points of confluence that will confirm to us that the market might be a buy. And then if it sells, then obviously this is where we are looking to come. And then if we don't have that trend line, then this is where the 90% rule is at of that pattern. Okay. So let's go to the 1 hour now, so we can see at that end of that trend line what's going on. So now that we're here on Euro USD, we have this low, right? It's not necessarily a support level that's been strong, been respected in the past. It's just a previous low. If you'd like, you can say that's the 90% rule of that pattern, because this is a structure now inside the structure. So now that the market has sold, meaning that, guys, if the market sells, I'm talking about a copy of this, or the repetition of this happening, right? Of this overall structure that we're currently inside, if the market end up breaking out. But for now, we need to respect the fact that we are still inside, meaning that anything can happen. We can either break the supporting trend line, we can on that level, or the market might end up respecting it and actually push to go to the upside. So that depends on the dollar and also the euro strength, right? So there's not much that's going on currently. So it's just a matter of waiting. But as you can see, if we get a full correction here, it is that which is going to confirm that the market will indeed go to the upside, which is in this type of manner, right? Because that's a descending channel, that is a reversal pattern. Okay, so yeah, guys, there's nothing that's clear. It's just a matter of waiting for the market to give us a clear go ahead as to what is it that it wanna do, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't say it's a buy at the moment, right? Let's just wait for the market to complete this pattern, because usually when the market prints something like this, it usually buys, and it buys hard. I know that. I've seen it happening quite a lot of times. So let's just wait and see if it's going to come to the support level and that trend line where we'll be looking to get the buys, right? And then if it breaks them too, then obviously the market will be looking to sell, right? So let's move on now. So moving on to US dollar CHF. So USDCHF, like I said before, is negatively correlated with EURUSD. So for example, if EURUSD give us that buy, then we will most definitely see USDCHF being a sell. Okay, so we have that low over there, right? And then we also have that. Okay, we can have it like this, or we can also have it like that, right? So let's just have them both anyway. Okay, but we're not necessarily going to dwell too much on that, because this is where we are interested in, right? So this is where we need to put in our eyes on. Okay, so I'm just gonna delete this for now, right? So now that we're here, so let's go to the 4-hour time frame. So on the 1 hour lead time frame, all right, guys, so on the H1, I do respect this daily trend line. So guys, I do respect this trend line, right? Because in a sense, we are in a bearish trend currently on USDCHF, right? And for me, for as long as we still play inside this playground that we have built for ourselves, then we're looking for sells at the resistance, and then we're looking for buys at the support, right? So guys, here I'm not taking anything else to from my mind. It's just what I see. You're looking at the probability and the possibility, right? As we should. So going to the 1 hour. So now that we're on the H1, guys, right? If EURUSD really ends up as that buy, it would make sense why USDCHF is going to be a sell. Because if you look inside this pattern that I've just drawn, you would see that we have a head and shoulder pattern here, right? So if it does sell, it would make a lot of sense, considering the fact that we have 3 points of confluence. We have the resisting trend line, we have a resisting level, we have an ascending channel or a corrective structure at those 2 key levels, right? So now, what is it that we're looking for? We would like to see USDCHF being a sell, considering or given this situation, right? However, what could also happen, your USDCHF before actually becomes a buy would want to also go back there for a third touch and eventually go give us the sell off to the downside. So that is my personal viewpoint based on what I see, guys, based on what I see on USDCHF. So now that we're here, this is just what's going on here, because now when you come here, guys, this is where you need to be decisive and also look at where you can get involved. So for example, if I'm looking to sell, this is most definitely not an area where I would like to be involved, right? Meaning that if it goes back up, then at least maybe there, right? Or if it doesn't, maybe a little breakout, a retest, and then sell off to the downside, right? So this is the type of things that you look out for when you have completed your analysis. Or even in other type of situation, you can look at it from, guys. If we can just forget everything else that I just said, and then just also erase that and also focus on this, you would realize that this is an impulse move, so that was a correction. So obviously, if we put a low over here, then what is it that we'd like to see happening here? A breakout. So we have broken out already. Then a retest, then continuation of sales to the downside. So I'm just trying to make it simple, right? So I'm just trying to make it simple so that everybody can easily understand. And then you can also see that this, sorry about that. You can also see that this is a head and shoulder pattern, right? So yeah, guys, this is what I think will happen on USDCHF. And then if USDCHF becomes a sell, EURUSD is going to be a buy, right? So let's move on. So now moving on to AUDUSD. So I'll just not erase the analysis. I'm just gonna explain what's going on. So guys, if you look at what's going on here, this is also an ascending channel, right? And then usually when the market prints this, the market tends to reverse. However, we also need to respect the fact that at some point this is an uptrend. At the supporting trend line, you're looking for buys. At the resisting trend line, you're looking for sells. Unless the market breaks this support level, it's only then that we'll start be looking for sells. All right. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame. So now that we're on the 4-hour time frame, guys, right? I'm not gonna dwell too much on that because this really took a while to play out, because I think I found it somewhere around about here in my past videos, and then it did this, and then I left it off because I was confused as to what was going on. But it just wanted to give us that double top at the top and then eventually sold. But the point of interest here is that the market is currently at this level, 0.68715. That is really crucial and important, because as you can see, resistance, breakout, retest, buy. So 3 rejections. So what is it that I think will happen here? If USD is going to be a buy, or if the dollar is to lose its strength, as we have outlined on USDCHF, it will be because of the fact that we're in an uptrend and also the support level. And then if you look at what's going on here, this might be an imminent double bottom, right? Hence the market will potentially go to the upside. And then on the 1-hour time frame, I did see that there is a probability, or a clear inverse head and shoulder pattern, right? Which is first shoulder, left shoulder, the head, and this is now looking to be a right shoulder, right? So if AUDUSD is to go to the upside, it will be in this sense that AUDUSD is going to be a buy, because that for me is a clear head and shoulder. Or if you don't want to sell off there, you can wait for it to break this neckline, of course, and then put your buy stops there, and then also just target somewhere around about there. So that's also 1:3, right? So it just depends now on what you want to do, because when you go to the execution time frame, that's where, like as I said, you need to be decisive. Look at the areas where you would like to get involved, and now that you have done your top-down analysis, right? Because that's the whole point, right? So let's see what we have. Lastly, on we have euro against the Australian dollar. So we have this, and then we also have that. All right, so this is what's going on here currently now. Okay, so this was an impulsive move, so we are currently in a corrective phase, right? So I've noticed that Euro AUD is correlated with the USD pairs, right? For particularly USDCHF, USD CAD, which is when they sell, they all sell, but not at the same time, but they all sell, right? So we're currently in a corrective phase, right? But we still need to respect the fact that we are still inside the structure, like I said, guys, because now I'm just saying the same thing. So if Euro AUD is to sell, it will just go there to give us the 90% rule, because that's where the 90% will be at, right? And yeah, and then if it goes back up, then maybe it might just be forming a double bottom in this type of sense, and then just go back to the upside. But it's clear for everybody to see that usually when something like this happens, you're looking for sales. And then if you go to the M15, in the M15, that looks like, or it looks that we might have an inverse head and shoulder, but the price keeps changing because on the 1 hour time frame, we didn't draw it like this, but the 50-minute time frame is telling us to adjust the trend lines because we might be missing something or something that we do not see from the 1 hour time frame, right? Meaning that if this is not going to be an inverse head and shoulder, then this just like an impulsive move, then that's a correction. So we're just waiting for the continuation to get the third touch there. And if the market breaks out, then it will potentially go to the downside furthermore. So that is it for me, guys. I hope you watched up until the end, or everything that I just said and explained here was clear and then you understood it. So if you like and enjoy the video, guys, please just do me the favor, hit that subscription button, like the video, share the video. I will most definitely see you guys on the next video.